Star Trek Day has completed, and we have a plethora of exciting news bits, including a brand new trailer for Lower Decks and Star Trek Discovery. Let's pour it up! Hey everybody, Ketwolski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Earl Grey Pour Up video discussions. Of course, today we are going to be recapping the Star Trek event as quickly as possible, really. The whole Star Trek Day thing kind of took place literally all day. In fact, as the recording of this video right now, it is still ongoing, but the majority of the news bits have concluded, and I want to get this video out as fast as possible because I am just super pumped, super jazzed about everything that we saw today. I literally cannot believe it. I'm bursting at the seams with excitement. So, for those of you who didn't know, this kind of event, Star Trek Day, kind of came out of nowhere. Obviously, September 8th is a very important day within the Star Trek franchise. It's the day that the original series premiered, but it kind of just appeared. You know, normally we celebrate First Contact Day, and then occasionally we'll celebrate this day as kind of a pseudo-holiday, but CBS and Secret Hideout went balls to the wall, full-blown, no joke. They made this an event, and boy, did it actually work. They had a bunch of panels from all of the different Star Trek shows that they wanted to share and get people to kind of discuss about. They brought in Scott Bakula from the Enterprise show. They've got everybody on there. The panels themselves were super interesting, really well done. The audio clipping was a little strange for some of them because they could have probably mixed them a little bit better, but overall, this whole entire panel, this whole entire day, this whole entire event was a massive success. Star Trek was trending on Twitter multiple times throughout the day, not just the paid stuff, but actually just normally trending just because of all the excitement that was building up around this event. And I recommend everybody to go and check out those panels. They were really cool, very well done, and a lot of really interesting insights to the previous shows. And of course, we've got a bunch of new exciting things in regards to our new shows. So before we get into the trailer breakdowns and the stuff regarding to Lower Decks and Discovery, I do want to go ahead and note that we did get one really good bit of information which goes ahead and reconfirms again that Star Trek Discovery will air on Netflix internationally. And of course, it will air on the Crave stuff and CBS All Access in the Canadian and US markets as it normally does, but it will be on Netflix starting on October 16th, which is pretty standard for the way that they've done these other seasons. So gone is the rumor of Netflix having no distribution rights to Star Trek Discovery Season 3 and nobody wanting to pick it up and all that nonsense. They literally just confirmed it again, even though they've already confirmed it in the past, but hopefully this quells all of those nonsense rumors and all of those really concerns. So hopefully this, makes everyone feel better. Sorry, rumor nerds, you're gonna have to come up with another narrative to crap on Discovery. So let's talk about Discovery. So we got a brand new trailer, and I'm not gonna go through every single frame of this. There's plenty of videos already being done to do that. I do wanna talk about a couple of very key moments, but the first big takeaway is that there's a new logo for the show, and honestly, I think it looks freaking great. It's not something that I thought we actually needed to have a whole new logo with a new font and all that stuff like that. But after seeing this new logo, I'm like, man, this should have been the logo from day one. It looks great. It has like a very cool like Enterprise feel, but also kind of a much more sleeker design to it. I think the coloring in the background and just really the badge that they've kind of put back there and everything kind of put together looks really fantastic. I really like the way that this thing looks, and I'm excited to see it on, posters and in the show and everything like that. And I'm curious to see if they actually change the intro of the show, because the intro of the show did have that traditional style logo at the end of it. So I'm curious to see if they change the actual intro at all. Maybe not the music, but maybe the visuals. So that would be kind of cool to see what they do there. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of the big takeaways from this trailer. Now, number one, we find out that the whole destruction of the Federation came about during an event known as the Burn. We don't know too much about what the Burn is or what that could potentially mean. It could mean a lot of different things. It could be references to supernovas. It could be references to, honestly, I have no idea. It could be a million different references, most of which are just, shots in the dark because we really don't know. But this is the first time that the event that caused the Federation to no longer exist in the way that it did previously to kind of be there now. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out, what the actual Burn is, and hopefully we actually get some cool flashbacks to whatever the Burn event was, and we'll actually get to see whatever it is take place, maybe during some of the discussions and the discovery that the Discovery crew's going on to find out what happened. We actually get to see some flashbacks of how the Federation fell apart, and maybe some of the Alpha and Beta Quadrant powers got into a power struggle or something like that. I don't know, but I am very excited to find out what the Burn event actually is. Another very key takeaway that we saw was the Discovery smacking into a planet. Now, this does look to be as though the same planet that Burnham lands on after they travel into the future, but it's obviously very unclear at this point. It's definitely framed in that way, but then they spend an enormous amount of time apart, which we know from the first trailer. They obviously spend an enormous amount of time, long enough for Burnham to grow her hair all the way out. So there is some kind of disconnect between where they landed and where Burnham's at, and maybe because they don't necessarily have the ability or the means to communicate, maybe we do spend a lot of time on this one planet and they're just in very physically far geographical locations on the same planet. I don't know for sure. It could be the same planet. It could be something entirely different. It could be the same planet but in a different time, because time travel is weird, but we do get to see it crash into the planet. Now, I have theorized myself in a couple of videos and a couple of live streams that the Discovery is going to be going away at some point, maybe hiding in that nebula like from that short trek Calypso or whatever, but we're going to get a different ship by the end of this season. But that's just a current theory of mine. However, that doesn't necessarily seem to relate to the crash, because there is another shot of the Discovery, a nice hero shot of it above a planet that's in orbit, and it doesn't look damaged at all. And we also saw another shot of it inside the trailer of it using the spore drive. So clearly they get it off the planet at some point, and it is zipping around doing certain things. Speaking of the Discovery, it does look like we do have another version of the confirmation that Saru has been promoted to captain. Now, obviously, I talked about this in a video months ago that one of the Star Trek magazines kind of leaked that information. And if you're kind of watching the show, it makes sense that Saru would be the one that would get the captain's position. It makes the most sense. It doesn't make sense for Burnham to get it, to be honest. It would make more sense for her to be the XO and his first officer, which does appear to be the case because she does get a gold badge later on after she puts on her uniform at the end, towards the end of the trailer. So it does appear, though, based off of that screenshot there, you see those kinds of pips. It looks as though he has all of the captain's pips on there. Obviously, it's not 100%. I don't know if they intentionally blurred that image just so that we couldn't get it from the trailer, but they probably did, to be honest. But to me, this pretty much confirms that Saru's going to be the captain of the Discovery. One final thing I did want to bring up from that trailer, which is this shot here of an individual kind of hanging out in this little office space here. We got Tig Notaro, we've got Paul Stamets, we've got Tilly. They're all kind of hanging out, doing their thing. And this particular character is standing there, but the uniform of this character, to me, just felt very, very reminiscent of the future Starfleet uniform. Well, not future in this case, but what we saw in Voyager, the future Starfleet uniform that they were wearing, like Braxton was wearing and stuff like that, that we saw that were on board the time ships. It looks very similar in my mind. Not exactly. It does look like a bit of a variation on it, but I think visually the styles are very much the same. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of connection to this version of Starfleet, or maybe these are temporal agents coming in from their version of the past for the Discovery, but it was the future for Voyager. It's very complicated, but you get my point. Maybe they've come forward in time to figure out what the burn was all about, and maybe they're going to need the Discovery to help kind of fix things and kind of maybe learn what the heck happened so that they can repair it in the past and maybe prevent it in the past or something like that. I don't know. That definitely doesn't seem like something that they would do, since they're like the super duper time police, but I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I did want to point that out because I thought that was very, very interesting. Okay, and with Lower Decks, we did get a sort of mid-season trailer, kind of the last 5 episodes for the rest of the season, and honestly, it's hilarious. There is so many things happening in that trailer. It looks great, but really the only key important thing that anyone really cares about is it's frickin' Q. Frickin' Q is back, and yes, Mike McMahon did confirm inside of the live panel that John Delancey is going to be playing his character. Apparently, it's a very small role. I love that he's rocking that frickin', judge outfit that he had in The Next Generation, and they brought him back to do who knows what with the Cerritos and our Lower Decks crew. But of course, that is super exciting. I'm super pumped to see this. I cannot wait to find out what he's doing on the show and how much we're going to get to see of him. But seeing him in an animated format like this is just awesome. And we love to see it. We love to see it. And I can't wait to see it on the actual episode. I literally cannot wait. All right, guys and gals, that does kind of wrap up my little bit of, kind of breakdown of the Discovery news and the Lower Decks news, and really just kind of getting you all aware of the fact that Star Trek Day is a thing, and it is kind of a big deal. Like I said, this event really kind of knocked it out of the park. I think the San Diego Comic-Con bit was a little bit lackluster, but when you compare that performance to this one, they clearly learned quite a bit of lessons from that event and applied it to this one. So that kind of almost seemed like a dry run. And now Star Trek and CBS and Secret Hideout really took this situation by the horns and really made it their own thing and really created an enormous amount of buzz around it. So I do have to kind of tip my hat. I made a whole video talking about how I felt like the stewardship of the Star Trek franchise wasn't doing so well, and I doubt anybody over there watched it, but clearly somebody is making a lot of effort in order to kind of get the ball rolling and kind of continue the hype train and get people excited about Star Trek. And it's not an easy thing to do. They got all of these actors, both legacy and current actors, together to do these live streams, to have these kinds of discussions and stuff like that. And some of them were live, and I say live as in they were being premiered live. I think they were recorded previously and then they were edited together. But in order to get all these people together is an enormous amount of effort, and they really did clearly care in order to make this happen. So the fact that we're still underneath these lockdowns and they're still able to put on these events, I think is awesome. I am just blown away by everything that we got today, you know, from the logo, from the trailers, from Q, just everything. I am super pumped right now. I am super jazzed. The trailer for Star Trek Discovery looked awesome, and I hope that the season matches the tone of this trailer because it seemed really, really fantastic, and it's their time to shine. So I'm very excited to see what this new season is going to be. All right, guys and gals, that does wrap up my video. Please tell me what you thought of all the panels, what you thought of the trailers for Lower Decks and for Discovery. Are you more excited for the second half season of Lower Decks now because Q's going to be there and all the other fun, cool stuff that we got to see with that crazy dog and all that stuff? And are you excited now for Discovery Season 3? And are you glad to kind of get the second or third now confirmation that Discovery is going to be on Netflix and airing internationally, and there's not going to be any kind of international distribution issues there? I'm very curious to hear what all of you guys and gals think about that. Please throw up your ideas and thoughts and comments up down below. And if you did enjoy this video, please throw a like and a subscribe on it as well. And I will catch all of y'all next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!